Today we are going to talk about Caitlin Clark and the Iowa Hawkeyes and how they managed to defeat the number one ranked team, South Carolina, majorly favored on every projected news network. Every single one had South Carolina winning and the massive favorite as well. How Iowa and Caitlin Clark knocked them off via Caitlin Clark's ability, via handling substitutions, and how Iowa's defense was also a difference maker in the game. So starting with Caitlin Clark, I believe Caitlin Clark is single-handedly maybe the most revolutionary player in women's basketball history. She possesses a skill set combined with a following that I don't think has ever been matched in the women's game before, especially at the college level. The first thing of note is Caitlin Clark is an unbelievable shooter from deep beyond the arc. All of these threes are contested, on the move, and from deep location. This season, she is shooting 38% from behind the arc, and she might even be better than that. That's 38% with the defenses focusing solely on her. I would love to look at the graph, but I have no doubt that as far as efficiency, as guard-wise, efficiency and volume, she has to top the charts by a large amount. This, making defenses respect you from behind the logo or at the logo, and shooting that at 38% clip changes the way the defense has to play every time you go against them. And not only that, while she isn't the most athletic, she weaponizes her ability to shoot. In this situation, she knows she has a little bit of space to drive over here and she wants to take advantage of that. So she needs to get 41, the defender, off balance. The way she does that is I'll slow down a little bit. She uses the threat of her shot to drop 41 off balance. Right here, ball goes in shooting pocket, her eyes look up at the rim, allows her to drive by 41 and kiss it off the glass.
Yeah, I thought it was a tremendous game for women's basketball. The crowd was incredible, and shout out to all the Hawk fans that have traveled down to Dallas. They were so amazing and so loud and so fun. I don't think we would be at this point in our season if it wasn't for them. I truly mean that, and I know so many tuned in. I think just tonight showed how fun women's basketball is.
The second area that impacted the game is Boston for South Carolina as their best player and Clark for Iowa as their best player. In the first quarter, just before this time right here, at 1:37, Boston picked up her second foul. Immediately, their coach subbed her out of the game. She did not come back in or at least have an impact until the third quarter. So the entire second quarter, she was negligible. Caitlin Clark, on the other hand, picked up her second foul at 8:17 in the second quarter, so still 8 minutes to go. How did her coach handle it? She left her in the game and just told her to be smart and be aware. At the end of the game, they both finished with 3 personal fouls, so nowhere even close to the 5. Total minutes for the game was 39 minutes for Caitlin Clark and 25 minutes for Aaliyah Boston. That is 14 minutes of Iowa having their best player on the court and 14 less minutes of South Carolina having their best minutes on the court. Those are the kinds of minutes that win you games in the long run, and this game being close down to the neck, that may or may not have been the single difference between the game. So first thing is shout out to Coach Kluber on that. The second area I want to shout out coaches. Iowa's defense, they were ignoring what they deemed the non-shooters on the perimeter. They are putting bodies in the paint. There are 3 bodies in the paint, and you are just not guarding who they deem the non-shooters for South Carolina. This caused South Carolina issues throughout the game. They did not know how to adjust to this and just essentially kept throwing it in. Okay, so right here, 25, no one's guarding her. This woman up here, essentially no one's guarding her either. They are just not worried. They are letting her shoot. Caitlin Clark is the one guarding her, which I love. That shows how an intelligent player Caitlin Clark is. They're just staying at the post. And South Carolina just forces in there. Yeah, it worked this time, but this is such a tough pass and catch and finish. So then the question is, if I was just letting them shoot, why didn't South Carolina just shoot and just make shots? So look at this, ball goes inside. 3 Iowa defenders, maybe 4 you can count, that are caring about the ball. No one else is worried about this shooter. There's another shooter over here, no one cares, and maybe loosely guarding one over here. So again, she finishes that. Great finish for number 10. But that is much more difficult than shooting it open 3. So this left the 3 open, miss. So then the question is, did South Carolina make them pay at all? And the answer is they made a couple of them, but on the game, South Carolina only shot 20% from 3. So Iowa's game plan by and large worked on defense. Then we're going to switch to the other side. So this is the complete opposite, where South Carolina chose instead to respect Iowa shooters so much that they're going to stay attached on the perimeter and then not even really help down below either. This is the complete polar opposite. Instead of having a bunch of help, South Carolina essentially has no help on the backside. None whatsoever. So here we can see Caitlin Clark getting downhill with her dominant hand. No help. Clear drive. Same concept, Caitlin Clark, right hand, just passes the ball to a pick and roll. They ran this pick and roll over and over and over again. If we look back at it, look at these defenders are so tight. There's no one that's making this pass to 24 right here. This defender has got to be able to provide a little bit of help and trust your defense to rotate on the backside instead of giving it. You cannot give up those shots here. So even with this example, same concept. They run a little screen. Caitlin Clark, the roller comes free. And the defense has the idea of rotating, but look how late the rotation comes. So I get it, you got to worry about the shooters and the screens on the backside, but like if you're going to rotate, that is way too late. And good job for 25. That's like the only time I saw them rotate. This is even an example with the game on the line late in the situation. Oh my gosh. So Caitlin Clark dribbles the ball up, beats her defender. And what is the defense? What are we looking at right now? Like, I get it, they have shooters on the backside, but 3 of them are staring over here, and one's locked on shooter. That's strong side. That makes sense. This over here, you got to be able to see the ball and protect the rim a little bit. Like, their single best player who dropped 40 points on you, 40 out of the 73 or whatever they scored, and you're not going to show a little bit of help on the drive? So the 3 areas of Caitlin Clark's greatness, the subs by Coach Kluber and how she handled them, and then also the defenses and how each of them handled the perimeter shooting is why Iowa was able to upset South Carolina.